Hello and welcome to Wednesday's programme.
Coming up tonight between now and 6:30.
Good evening. Parents with pupils at Plymouth Studio School say the imminent closure is affecting their children's confidence and their mental health.
They claim the school and the council haven't offered enough support for parents looking for places elsewhere. The school was originally set up to educate and train the sports stars of the future, but is set to close after a damning Ofsted report and because it isn't financially viable.
Well, our reporter Jackie Bird's been following this story from the very start and joins us now from outside the school. Jackie, you've been talking to worried parents today. What have they told you? Elsewhere, a man has been left with serious injuries after falling on scaffolding in Exeter. Fire crews were called to...
The Defence Minister has told MPs that he'd like to see the armed forces given a pay rise of more than 1%.
The government says a decision on whether to upgrade any part of the A38 will be made by the middle of next year. Campaigners want
a scheme in Plymouth in which veterans facing life on the streets are able to build their own homes has won a national award. Now, a female councillor in Cornwall has today spoken out about the lack of women sitting on the county council.
Dulcie Tudor says she's committed to representing local people and voting on matters that directly affect those who voted her in.
Well, Grace Pascoe is in the ward that Dulcie represents for us in Three Milestone near Truro. So, Grace, just how many female councillors are there in Cornwall?
Next on this evening's programme, farmers have told ITV News that they are still struggling with the impact of one of the worst winters in living memory.
Heavy snow followed by a late spring pushed up the price of straw and left many in the industry worrying about how to catch up this year. Well, it's been a big topic of conversation during the first day of the Royal Bath and West Show in Somerset, as Ben McGrail now reports. Farmer Stuart Clatworthy there talking to our reporter Ben McGrail.
Now, a Commons Health Committee chaired by the Totnes MP Sarah Wollaston is calling for a ban on cartoon characters that promote food that's high in fat and sugar on TV and social media.
MPs are also urging the government to take action on adverts as part of its childhood obesity plan, calling for a ban on junk food ads before the 9 p.m. TV watershed. Well, from on this, let's cross to Westminster and join our political correspondent David Wood. David, does this have a chance of succeeding?
Do you know what, Kylie? I think there is more of a chance of...
And David, we mentioned banning cartoons, the 9 p.m. watershed. Any other recommendations today?
Yeah, Jonty, the committee wants...
Now you're watching ITV News here in the West Country. Thanks for joining us this evening. Still plenty more to come before 6:30, including
And after us, the ITV News continues with the national and the international stories at 6:30. Charlene White has the details. But next on our programme, Parkinson's affects nearly 14,000 people in the southwest. It is a condition that can lead to tremors, stiff muscles and problems with speech, and is caused when cells in a particular part of the brain stop working properly.
Well, Tom Savides has been talking to one couple about their experience of living with a disease that impacts on so many lives. Some football news for you now. And Yeovil Town Ladies has announced the team will turn professional for the start of next season. Changes to the league.
Now, at the age of 81, most of us would hope to be enjoying our retirement, putting our feet up. But one man in Bodmin has no intention of doing that.
No, every weekend, George. Good on George.
Yeah, lovely guy. Now, if you go down to the canal today in Tiverton, you may be in for a surprise in the form of a very aggressive-looking swan.
Yep, he's been named Albert and is turning on passers-by on the Grand Western Canal in the Devon town. He's very territorial, protecting his partner, called Victoria, of course. It's been reported he's even sunk a passing kayak. Andrea Bishop has the story. Beware of Albert then, hey? You know that old wives' tale, though, about a swan breaking your arm? Don't get too close. You've heard your mum and dad say, don't get too close because a swan might break your arm. Apparently, I've just asked my friend Google here, and it's not true.
No, I've never met anyone who that's happened to. No. Get in touch if it has. Let's move on to the weather forecast now, because it's still pretty changeable out there. Becky Manton has the details for this evening.
Hello there, very good evening to you. I do hope you've had a lovely day. Prepare yourself for some fairly lively conditions in the next 24 to 48 hours. We've got the risk of thunderstorms cropping up mostly towards the eastern parts of our patch, but even so, they could really be anywhere. And where they do occur, and they won't be for everyone, but where they do occur, we can expect torrential rain, localised flooding as well, or at least the risk of it, and hail mixed in there as well. So as I say, some very lively conditions, and the Met Office does have a weather warning out for heavy rain. But back to the here and now, and as you can see through this evening and overnight, it's a largely dry picture, but we've got this low misty cloud and sea fog rolling in once again, and it is going to be quite a quiet picture, I think, by the time we get to 5 o'clock in the morning. and quite a mild one as well. Temperatures holding up very nicely under that blanket of cloud, around 13 to 15 degrees. So look ahead to tomorrow, and as you can imagine, it's quite a slow start to the day, but the sunshine starts to get going. Some breaks in the cloud appear, the sunshine poking through, and that in turn will set off some fairly punchy thunderstorms, as I say, particularly at risk towards the eastern parts of our patch, and here the warmest temperatures as well, up to around 22 degrees, which is 72 in Fahrenheit. So a warm and sultry sort of day, but where the thunderstorms arrive, it'll of course be much cooler, breezier as well, but many parts actually getting away with a decent, dry, reasonably bright afternoon, but a little bit cooler for you. Then we look ahead to the next few days, and there is the potential still, again towards the east of our area, for some thunderstorms on Friday, but generally it's a dry, calmer sort of day with a little bit more brightness appearing by the second half of the weekend. Just hold for your pollen, and I'll be back in just a minute. So with the rising temperatures expected through tomorrow, we're expecting pollen levels to rise to moderate. Then they dip down again for Friday, the end of the week, and then rise up to moderate again for the start of the weekend. Have a lovely evening.
Becky, thanks very much indeed. Before we go, let's remind you of the main headlines here in the West Country this evening.
And that's it from us this evening. I'll be back, though, with the late news. That's at the usual time of 10:30.
Now, though, we'll hand you to Charlene White as the ITV News continues. From all of us, have a lovely evening. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.